Imagine you are me, checking your business email after like 2 weeks because who's gonna hire this? But to your surprise, an indie game developer sent you a free game. It's a JRPG. It has lovely pixel graphics. The music is good. Oh yeah, it's all coming together. Beloved Rapture is an indie RPG inspired by JRPG classics, and I would tell you more, but I haven't finished the game. You might be wondering, how can I review a game that I haven't finished? Well, I can't launch the game, as you saw. Well, I can't launch it at the time of recording. The fact that I cannot launch this game is the crowning achievement on a list of issues. There are more game-breaking bugs, an uninspired story, bland characters, and combat is sluggish and monotonous. Now, before I go too deep into this review, I would like to state that I did in fact receive this game for free. The intro is accurate. I did get a code in my email. It won't stop me from being critical, but I have a duty to inform you that I got the game for free. With that out of the way, let's begin with the least of this game's offenses, which is the story. Now, I love a good RPG and I love a good story. This game does not have a good story. From the little I was able to play, the plot is quite generic and the characters are fairly one-dimensional. The story begins with a short intro sequence from what appears to be the end of the narrative, with a character named Aiden confronting an unidentified man. Aiden accuses the man of not being the same person that he knew. They fight, Aiden is beaten, and then you get into the game proper. After that, you take control of a character named Jonah, who looks very similar to the unidentified man that Aiden confronted. Jonah is a little bit of a mama's boy, and Jonah's friend, who I don't remember the name of and I can't launch the game to check, encourages him to leave their small village. Now, I don't want to spoil anything just in case, but Jonah's mother is killed and Jonah is then set on the path of revenge. After Jonah gets set on the path to revenge, you retake control of Aiden, who seems to be having struggles with his father and their family name. You are tasked with bringing a message to the capital, and along the way, you encounter various obstacles. You meet a young woman named Krista. That's the footage you are watching now. And I haven't been able to play anymore. So that's about all I can tell you about the story. None of the characters seem to be any deeper than what I have explained to you, and the basic plot is, well, basic. The next issue is combat. It is pretty standard turn-based RPG fare, save for two addendums. One is the replica gauge, and the other is how this game utilizes the guard mechanic. The replica gauge is a charge gauge for your weapon. Each time you attack, you gain 1 charge. At max charges, you get to do a large, heavy-hitting attack. There are other games that use this system, but I did want to point it out. Guarding in this game is a little unique. When you guard, you don't just get the standard defensive buff, you also regain health. And in point of fact, this is your primary means of healing in combat. This makes defense the most valuable stat in this game, as if it is high enough, you take lower damage when you are unguarded, and if it's similarly high enough, you can take 0 damage when you are guarded, and then you can heal and not take any additional damage. So the less damage you take, the better. This is kind of the opposite of most RPGs where attack stats kind of take the lead. And I thought it was interesting when the game first explained it to me until I saw it in practice. The way the game functions is that you cannot guard twice in a row to regain HP. So the way it works is you attack, you get hit, you guard to get your HP back up, you take another hit at reduced damage, then you attack again. And you rinse and repeat this until you beat the enemy. which is generally around the time your replica gauge fills in, say, a standard encounter. In practice, all this mechanic does is to serve to make combat drag on longer than it needs to. Instead of it being 3 attacks, it's 3 attacks and 2 or 3 turns of guarding. And you might be thinking, well, just raise your attack, get combat over faster, skip the guarding so you can just do, 2 attacks. Except combat in this game is hard, like really hard. On screen, what you've been watching, these are only basic enemies. These are standard combat encounters. They hit for near half your health each time. And I want to point out to you, when I leveled up, I only ever upgraded defense. This is the max defense you can have. If you do not use the guard mechanic, you will die. Combat is slow, tedious, and feels wildly unbalanced in the little that I have played. This brings us to the most egregious thing, which is the bugs. This game was made in RPG Maker. I understand that it's going to be a little janky. The guy didn't make his own engine. I'm not judging it for having a few issues, but in 4 play sessions, I have had 3 game-breaking bugs. The first I don't have footage for. What happened was I reloaded the game after I beat the dragon boss in the beginning. When I tried to open my inventory after I reloaded the game to equip a new item, the game shot me an error message and crashed. This happened until I left the area and opened a different menu. Then I could open my inventory and equip the item, but I couldn't do it there. Now, I've not had this issue since, but it is worth noting. The second issue, I do have footage for. This is where I loaded up the game for my 3rd play session. The game loaded and I was put into the menu without ever being prompted to. The save prompt was over the top of it. That's not supposed to be there. When I closed that menu, I couldn't open any menu again. You can see it here. I ended up fixing it by talking to an NPC that was walking by. This allowed me to open up the menu, but it also seemed to screw up the text boxes until I moved to an entirely different section of the game. If this had happened and there was no NPC nearby or nothing to interact with, there wouldn't be anything I could have done to fix this issue. The 3rd game-breaking issue is what I showed in the opening. I can't launch the game. I would guess this has something to do with the game receiving an update between when I played last and when I tried to play again, but I don't know. I tried re-downloading the game. I tried changing where the drive where the game is stored. I can't get the game to work. And the truth is, I have no more desire to play this game. Maybe the story is better than what I have seen. Maybe the characters get deeper as you go, but I can't play to find out. Maybe combat gets more interesting, but I can't play to find out. After game-breaking bug, after game-breaking bug, after game-breaking bug, I just don't have any desire to fix this game again in order to play it. I was really excited to receive a game from a developer. It's the first time this has happened to me. Genuinely, I didn't think anyone would ever give me a free game at this level of subscribers. I wanted it to be good. I wanted to have fun with this. I love RPGs. I love this graphical style. I wanted to like this game, but I can't. I would recommend that you avoid this game. Certainly don't buy it at full price. I didn't pay a dime for it, and I don't want to play it anymore. This just isn't a good game. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed.